Okay, we're going live. We're going live. We're live. Hey, it's Jeremy. It's Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update. I'm calling it news and comment because I got some complaints that I comment too much. Guess what? It's my basement. I'll do what I wish. But thank you for tuning in. I'm just in a grumpy mood today, okay? I like when I listen to the radio, when I'm out driving around in my car, I listen to a lot of sports talk. Okay. If I hear one more sports talk show talking about Travis Kelce dating Taylor Smith, I'm going to drive into a telephone pole. Who cares? I don't care. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. In the news, Bruce Springsteen has pushed his remaining 2023 tour dates to next year after previously postponing his September shows. At first, he just was moving out the September shows, but he's moving the whole tour to next year. He's got some health concerns. Here's the quote. He has continued to recover steadily from peptic ulcer disease over the past few weeks and will continue treatment through the rest of the year on doctor's advice. With this in mind and out of an abundance of caution, all remaining 2023 tour dates for Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band will be postponed until 2024. Baby, we were born to run. Run! I'll say this about Bruce Springsteen. You get your money's worth when you go to see the boss. I mean, he plays for like 3 hours. So if you're into Bruce, you get your money's worth. Also, some more kind of health related news. In fact, all of our stories today are kind of health related. That's what happens when these classic rock icons get older. You start talking about more health stuff. I said last week that I thought we would not see Ozzy tour anymore. I thought he was done. I thought his career was, but shows you what I know. Ozzy Osbourne is determined to keep making music and take it on the road. Despite his many health setbacks in recent years, he was on Metal Hammer. He said he's had his, quote, final surgery and is preparing to record a new album next year with producer guitarist Andrew Watt, who also produced Ordinary Man from 2020 and Patient Number 9 from 2022. Both albums pretty good, did great. But he says his last surgery, remember we were talking about just last week or week before, he was going in for his last surgery. Apparently that went well. He says he has plans to record another album and do another tour. So that is awesome. Don Dokken. I have a soft spot in my heart for Dokken. I'm a fan of the Dokken, and I like Don Dokken. Though some people say that Don Dokken and Donny Osmond are the same person. Have you ever seen them in the same room together? I'm not a conspiracy guy, but just saying. Don Dokken said fans who complain about his recent onstage vocal abilities should just stay home. So whether it's Don Dokken, Vince Neil, a lot of these classic rockers, they're getting older, right? And I know in the age of social media, there's fan video everywhere. So there's footage of Don Dokken not sounding very good live. He can't hit the high notes. He's 70 years old. Vince Neil. I don't think Vince is quite 70, but they don't sound great. So, quote, I've had people say, Don needs to give it up. He can't hit the high notes. And I'm like, dude, I've done like 3,000 concerts. It's like a motor car. It's getting worn out. I'm husky today just from talking to everybody, and that's just the way it is. And you get older. I'm 70, end quote. So he makes the point that, hey, I get it. I'm 70. I can't sing like I could when I was 25 years old, right? That's just the reality. And yes, everyone's a critic. Everyone's out there saying that he or she can't sing anymore. They should give it up or whatever. And here's what I think about it. I've gone on the record saying this. Everyone knows what Don's going to sound like. Everyone knows what Vince Neil's going to sound like. The video's out there, right? If people are willing to buy a ticket and go see the band And this goes into the same thing that I've always ranted about the non-original members in bands. If people know going in that this is there's going to be a lead singer who can't sing like he could when he was 25, and B, there are going to be members in the band that aren't original. I think everyone probably knows that, right? If they're still willing to buy a ticket, then why should these guys stop? Why should they stop? Don has said, I'm going to keep touring as long as it's fun for me. People are still buying tickets coming to the show. So part of me says, well, good for you, Don. And he says, if people don't like the way I sound, then stay home. Just don't come. Hard to argue with that logic. And Vince Neil could say the same thing. Vince Neil he's touring with the solo band now. People are willing to pay to go see him. Why would they stop when there's still an audience out there because some grumpy guy says, I should give it up. Can't say it about. So I see Don's point. Don, you can tell Don is a good singer. He was always a good singer. He doesn't have the range he does, so he kind of has to sing things a little different. You don't hear him hit bad notes. He just hits different notes, right? And that's Robin Zander, who still sounds phenomenal at his age. Sammy Hagar still sings pretty good for a guy in his 70s. They have to make some changes, right? They might even bring some songs down a key or two. I'm not sure. It's just not realistic to think a guy in his 70s can sing like he could when he was 25. It doesn't work that way. So I have no problem with what Don says. Hey, if you don't want to go see him, don't see him. Seems like an easy solution to me. Lastly, guys, I want to read an email. Jay Peabody from Rochester. Is it Minnesota? Is it Maine? I'm not sure. But Jay Peabody says, and I'm sure he speaks for you all when he says, dear classic guitar rock or whatever the F you call yourself, you suck. Okay. All right. Thank you. And if you'd like to email me, please do so. classicguitarrock@mail.com. I'd love to hear from you. And we occasionally will share emails if they're insightful, like this one from Mr. Peabody. Thank you so much for watching. And we will see you tomorrow for our next Classic Guitar Rock update. Goodbye. Take care.